In February 2012, a nonprofit organization called Invisible People released a short film called Kony 2012. The film went viral. Within 1 week of its release, it had 80 million views. This was huge for an unknown charity. But even more amazingly, they did it without paying any celebrities or big-name spokespeople. So how did this grassroots campaign manage to get so much attention? Let's find out in today's episode of Fake It Till You Make It. Joseph Kony is the leader of the Lord's Resistance Army, a rebel group based in northern Uganda. His army has been fighting against the government since 1986. In that time, he has committed horrible atrocities like killing over 100,000 civilians and kidnapping 60,000 children to use as soldiers. Now, this isn't exactly the kind of guy you want to put a human face on. But that didn't stop Invisible People from trying. Invisible People is a nonprofit founded by Jason Russell, a former child actor who appeared in films like Hook and Mr. Holland's Opus, and Eric Storm, a filmmaker. Together with their team of 3, they traveled to Uganda and spent 2 months getting footage of the war-torn country. The trip was dangerous. At one point they were almost killed when their guide led them into a landmine. But the risk only fueled their determination to shed light on the situation in Uganda. When they got back home, they set about making a film to raise awareness about Joseph Kony. Their goal was to have the film seen by 100,000 people. They put together a rough cut and then sent it to everyone they knew, hoping they would spread it around. This included celebrities like Rihanna and Oprah Winfrey. But those two were too busy being rich and famous to help them out. Don't worry though, they'll show up later. So with no celebrities or huge budget, the team at Invisible People had to get creative about promoting their film. They started by posting the link to their video on every social media site they could find. Then they started a Facebook page for the film and encouraged people to share it with their friends. Finally, they reached out to bloggers and journalists to see if they could get any coverage. Meanwhile, the team was working on what would become one of the most important parts of the campaign, the poster. The poster featured a photo of Kony with a red circle and the words "Cover him" in red written below. The idea was that people could take photos of themselves covering Kony's face with red paint, fabric or whatever they had handy and post those photos online. The team hoped this would encourage people to talk about the film and get their friends involved. On March 5, 2012, Invisible People released the film online. It quickly gained traction, racking up 50,000 views in the first day and 100,000 in 2. But after that, the momentum started to slow down. So the team decided to do something drastic. They sent the film to a website called Reddit, which is like a collection of message boards. But this wasn't just any subreddit. It was the Our Videos subreddit, which is basically a dumping ground for all kinds of viral videos, both good and bad. The idea was that if their video could make it to the front page of Reddit, they would be guaranteed a bunch of views. And boy, did they ever get their wish. Within hours of posting, their video had made it to the top of the subreddit. Soon, people all over the world were sharing the video with their friends. By the end of the first week, the film had over 80 million views. Overnight, Invisible People went from being a small nonprofit to being one of the most popular charities in the world. People all over the globe organized rallies and fundraisers to support their cause. The film was covered by major news outlets like the BBC and CNN. Even celebrities started taking notice, tweeting about the film and encouraging their fans to watch it. Finally, it seemed like things were really going to change for Invisible People. But the success didn't last. As the weeks went on, the number of views the film received slowed down and eventually stopped. And all the attention that had been focused on Invisible People suddenly disappeared. But before we get into why that happened, let's talk about some of the problems with the Kony 2012 campaign. The first problem with the campaign is that despite the title, it wasn't actually about stopping Kony. Sure, that was the goal, but the film didn't really do anything to actually achieve it. Most of the film is just about raising awareness, which isn't enough to get people to take action. To be fair, this is a common problem with nonprofits. Most of them don't have the resources to launch large-scale campaigns like this one. But that doesn't make it any less of a problem. The second problem with the campaign is that it wasn't very well coordinated. As we mentioned earlier, Invisible People only had 3 people working on the entire project. This meant that they couldn't devote as much time and energy to planning the campaign as a larger organization could have. In hindsight, it probably would have been better for them to work with an established charity that already had experience running large campaigns. The third problem with the campaign is that it wasn't very inclusive. A lot of the campaign's promotional materials made white Americans look like they were the heroes and Africans look like they were helpless victims. This isn't necessarily the fault of Invisible People. It's just how a lot of people view charity work. But it is still a problem because it creates a sense of us versus them that can lead to mistrust and resentment. Okay, now let's get back to why the campaign failed. The simple answer is that it just ran out of steam. After the initial flurry of excitement died down, people went back to their normal lives and stopped thinking about Uganda. But there was also something else going on here. People quickly realized that supporting Invisible People wasn't as easy as watching a YouTube video and feeling good about themselves. It required them to take action, to give money or time or both. And not everyone was willing to do that. But this wasn't true for everyone. While most people were happy to move on with their lives, others wanted to continue supporting Invisible People. But they weren't sure how. If you're one of these people, don't worry. We've got you covered. Here are 5 ways you can help Invisible People continue their important work. The first way you can help is by donating money. Every dollar you donate will go towards helping Invisible People provide education, healthcare, and economic opportunities to people affected by war. The second way you can help is by volunteering your time. Invisible People always needs people to help out with administrative tasks, event planning, and more. The third way you can help is by spreading the word. Tell your friends and family about Invisible People and encourage them to donate or volunteer. The fourth way you can help is by following Invisible People on social media. By staying up to date on all of their latest news and events, you'll be able to show your support in a meaningful way. Finally, the fifth way you can help is by praying for Invisible People and the people they serve. Prayer can be a powerful force for good, and it can make a real difference in people's lives. We hope you've enjoyed today's episode of Fake It Till You Make It. If you want to learn more about Invisible People or donate to their cause, please visit their website. And if you want to keep watching, please click on one of the videos on screen now. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.